Hello, my name is Joel with AG Sod Farms, and this is my friend Carlos. We're going to talk about installing sod and some steps involved in that. And we're at my friend Veronica's house doing her front yard. So we're going to walk you through the steps involved in this process. So what's the first step in this process, Carlos?
Joel, the first step is to get rid of the weeds. So we have to come in and spray them with a non-selective herbicide that's going to kill everything, and wait at least 2 weeks before we come in and do our next step.
That's a critical step, because if you just lay new sod on top of old weeds, it's just going to come right up through the grass, and all your work will be wasted. In order to get a smooth surface, you want to rake out the clods. You can either use a bigger rake, or everybody probably has one of these around their house. I'm going to use the bigger one right now. So we have some rocks in the soil. We want to use a rake to drag them out. They will not be they'll make your ground bumpy if you don't take them out. Let's keep going. So some things you want to think about when you're trying to dial it in is if you have dry spots, obviously that's going to be a problem for your new grass. And if you see puddling, then you either need to cut back your minutes, or it might mean that you need to fine-tune your irrigation. Maybe there's a sprinkler that is putting on too much, or there's a broken head. And the main thing is just to get the roots to grow down into the soil. There's a critical 2-3 week period where there's no roots, and the grass needs to put down roots and find some water itself. In the meantime, you're just spoon feeding water to it. So we have a nice soil bed here. You can get your fingers down into it, and it's firm and flat. What kind of grade are we looking for here, Carlos, on the sidewalks and the driveways?
Well, Joe, we want to keep it just a little bit below the concrete, so when you roll your sod, it's just somehow below the concrete.
So maybe an inch?
You have it like an inch or so. That'll
Okay.
work.
And then it'll grow up and you can get your mower along here.
Yes.
As we're actually getting to the process of laying sod, there's a couple things to be aware of. Carlos is using a wheelbarrow, very helpful in getting from the street or wherever your sod is up to the place you're going. We're going to start along a straight line if possible. Carlos and his team have laid a straight line. It's much easier than working with curves. You want to lay sod in the very back, so as we lay sod, we're not walking across it. So now that we're laying sod, Carlos has flagged his sprinklers so we don't cover them up. What are some other steps we need to take here?
Well, Joe, like you said, let's maintain a straight line. The first one, we start off with the full length piece all the way. And then the second one here, what we're going to do is just kind of cut it in half, because we really want to have it staggered. So this is half right here, and we move it.
Then we put a full one in between it, so we have a brick pattern. So the next one will be full, and then we'll use another half. What kind of knife do you typically use for this process to cut around sprinklers?
So we just use a simple box knife that you could buy at your regular appliance store or Home Depot.
Sometimes I use my wife's steak knives, but don't tell anybody. The way I like to think of irrigation after you're done with sod is keep it moist but not soggy. You want to get that top inch or so of soil moist, but you don't want to walk on it and have it squished down. And in the summer, you may need to run it 3 times a day for a really short period, or if it's really cool out, then you may just run it once a day.
Well, Joe, looks like we're done. Another project well done. It looks beautiful, and we'll see you in the next project.
Perfect. If you found this video to be educational, give us a like. If you really want to learn about your lawn, subscribe, and it will help us grow just like this grass.